So degenerate art was something that perhaps is more well known and more well understood, and that there were exhibitions that were put on to showcase this awful art that was very anti-German.
Similar exhibitions were held throughout Germany to denounce Entartete Musik, or degenerate music, including this one in Düsseldorf in 1938.
There was also music exhibitions as part of this, which that showed to people that this is not the music of our country, of our people, and that this is damaging the very fabric of our society. But the thing is that it didn't really work, because actually it drew attention to this music.
As well as denouncing Jewish classical composers such as Mahler and Mendelssohn, the Nazis smeared jazz as Negro music with Jewish overtones.
So what the Nazis wanted to do was to return to music that was going to be really strong and Germanic. And composers such as Wagner was a brilliant place to go to, because he himself was a very well-known anti-Semitic, and that he would often conduct Jewish music wearing white gloves because he didn't want to get his hands dirty.
It's been a tough time for music and the arts during the pandemic, but a composer from Oxford has written a new piece during lockdown with one instrument in mind, the double bass. Leo Geyer's piece has been commissioned by the Musicians' Company. Here's what it sounds like. A short time ago, I spoke to Leo and asked him why he wrote something specifically for the double bass.
Well, I was hugely inspired by my really good friend Toby Hughes, who is an amazing virtuoso double bassist, and he's releasing an album quite soon. But the problem is that there's not a great deal of repertoire for the solo double bass, so we thought we might team up and do something about this.
Because I think the first time I saw a double bass, don't laugh, it was being played in Disney's The Aristocats. It's the cat jazz band during Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. How often does a double bass feature in a song or in music scores without us really noticing?
Yeah, it's a really good point. I mean, for example, in orchestral contexts, the double bass is always there, but often doubling the cello right at the bottom of the orchestra, providing that kind of extra bass, but not really in a kind of solo way. And similarly, in a lot of popular music and, of course, in jazz, the bass is there providing that bass line and that outline of the harmony, but not really featuring as a solo, which is a great shame.
So you composed this piece during lockdown. How difficult was it to do it over Zoom?
Yeah, really difficult. I mean, the pandemic has been so hard for musicians, largely because we simply can't play together, and obviously we can connect on Zoom, but the lag is too intense for us to actually make music together. So that made us think, well, okay, so we've only got a solo double bass to play with, that perhaps we could incorporate a loop pedal, so that rather than another instrument accompanying, Toby is accompanying himself with multiple lines of solo double bass.
So how would you describe the sound of a double bass just on its own? Because obviously we've heard it kind of like as a background piece, like it almost blends into me as like a bit more like a part of a percussion.
Yeah, well, actually, the double bass is a hugely versatile instrument because, of course, it's got the really low sounds, which is kind of iconic, but also because of its very deep strings and its very large bodies, you can get quite a lot of interesting percussion sounds as well. But particularly in this piece, we wanted to showcase the expressivity of the double bass, so actually exploring quite a lot of the higher register, which is really beautifully rich.
Oh, I love the idea the double bass is expressive. So how can people listen to it?
So it's currently on YouTube, so if you search for my name, which is Leo Geyer, and the Water Boatman, then it'll come up on the Worshipful Company of Musicians YouTube page.
Leo, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with a journey back to the first music. The beat of your mother's heart, the vibrations you feel at the root of her voice, as she sings in a world you are yet to know.
When it enters the world, a baby breathes with its whole body. Look up. With no language to separate them from their sensations, they breathe the world itself.
A baby won't forget the first music. I haven't either. For me, music has always been meditation, a way of returning to your source, renewing yourself, using your senses to recolor your soul.
Feel your feet firm on the floor. Observe your sensations as they shift from moment to moment. Know that though your mind may wander far, you can always come back to your body.
In Bengali, the word mati means soil. We sing of the mati from our homeland, across Bengal and in parts of India. We sing of the mati from our homeland, where we emerge from and where we belong. I always know that wherever I am, when I hear this music, I've returned home.